Hey everyone, welcome back to Gracie May's Tarot. So today I'm really excited for our reading. We're going to be finding out what the tea is on your future spouse. So I've used pre-pulled cards today. We're going to be finding out details about your future spouse's love life currently, what they've been through, their love language, the archetype they are best represented by, really just all kind of different details. I'll be showing you as we go through the reading, like what question I asked when I pulled certain cards. And then at the end of your reading, we'll be finding out which two teas best match your future spouse's personality. We'll be using our grab bag and we'll be pulling out specific like hints and details, maybe what they do for their career or physical traits, things like that. We'll be bringing out the Spark Romance matchsticks. If you guys are familiar with my channel, you've probably seen those before. But yeah, it's gonna be a really cool reading, so settle in, maybe have a cup of tea, and we'll get into it. Now, you can choose your group either based upon the image and the thumbnail, or you can choose your group based upon the mug that you are most drawn to. So for pile 1, it says, I work hard so that my cat Gracie can have a better life. And she just shook her collar, so you guys may have heard like some ringing in the background. For pile 2 here, we have the Love Trope mug. I used this in the Love Trope with your future spouse reading. That was one of my favorite readings I've ever filmed. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend checking it out. I'll try to make sure it's linked in the description box. And then for pile 3, we have my Tarot Cats mug. I love the Wheel of Fortune on this one. And the High Priestess is so cute. Okay, so take a moment, pause the video if you need to meditate on the groups. The timestamps are listed below in the description box, just like always, and let's get into it. Hey pile 1, welcome to your reading. So as you can see, we have your mug full of goodies. We'll look at this at the very end of your reading. I chose the Mystical Cats Tarot for your group. It was just calling to me. I do think your future spouse could be someone who is pretty outdoorsy, or someone who is a big animal lover. They could be like a veterinarian, something like that. They could, again, just love the outdoors. They could also like to be near water. That could also be a possibility. So maybe they enjoy hobbies and things related to the water. Maybe they like swimming, kayaking, surfing, things like that. Maybe they grew up by the water, something like that, or they just have a connection to the water. You know, they just feel better when they're closer to water. So I do know there are some cards you can't currently see. Actually, let's just move them up here. It may not look the prettiest, but okay. So as I was laying out your cards, I was like, ooh, we have the Emperor, we have the Empress, we have the Fire King, which is the King of Wands in this deck. We have the 3 of Fire, the 7 of Sky, or the 7 of Swords. We have the 9 of Sea, or the 9 of Cups. We have the 9 of Sky, and we have the Ace of Earth, or the Ace of Pentacles. Wow. So I do think your future spouse is quite a mature person. Now, this doesn't mean necessarily that they're older than you, although they could be, but I just think that there's someone who knows what they want, and they're very clear and direct about that. Like, I feel like they've already had, you know, their experiences in love, like in terms of heartbreak or lessons they had to learn, things like that. I feel like they're either going through that now, or they're going to, they've already been through it. It's gonna kind of vary depending upon like how far away you are from meeting your future spouse, but I do think by the time you meet your future spouse, they have learned quite a lot of lessons in love. And you know, this could even be someone who's been divorced before, or maybe was previously engaged, or maybe was in a long-term relationship that just didn't work out, or maybe they've had several short-lived relationships. You know, whatever the case may be, they've been through their lessons in love, and they're very clear and direct about what they're looking for and what they want. This is someone who's quite mature, and they're not going to be someone who's going to play games or, be indecisive or flaky, wishy-washy. You know, it's not going to be a dramatic sort of struggle. Like once you two meet each other, I think it's quite clear that you all are, you know, meant for each other. You're going to be very clear and direct about your feelings towards one another, or at least on their end. And guys, I'm going to pause the video because the stray cat is outside and I do want to run outside and feed it. So give me a second. Alright, sorry about that, guys. So yes, I think your future spouse is going to be very clear and direct about their feelings towards you, and it really feels like they are looking for someone who is an equal match to them, you know, someone who is equally as mature, someone who is, you know, very clear about what they want, you know, like I think your future spouse is very tired of playing games or having people be deceptive or people putting up false facades about who they really are. So the Emperor or the Empress, I do think that your future spouse is likely represented by the Emperor, just because we also have the Fire King here. So I do think your future spouse is presenting as a divine masculine energy, and they're looking for their divine feminine. Now remember, we're just talking about energy, we're not talking about gender. So just apply this to your life, how it resonates. But yes, I do think your future spouse is someone who has this kind of, they have a really nice side to them, because there's a side to them that's very professional, you know, stable, secure, responsible, someone who's accountable, someone who's trustworthy. But on the other side of that, they have this really fun, lighthearted, charming, charismatic, funny, comedic, gregarious, sociable, quirky, goofy kind of side to them. So I think it's a really nice balance there. I do think your future spouse is likely someone who's very successful in their career. Again, like I don't think this is someone who is quite young. Like I do think you could meet your future spouse, I would say at least in like your mid-20s. That would be my guess. Like I don't think that you would meet this person when you're 20 years old. You know, like I do think that they've at least graduated school, or they are at least stable in their career. You know, I don't think this is someone that you meet like fresh out of high school, okay? Or like whatever the schooling system is in your country, wherever you're watching this from. I don't think that you meet them very young is what I'm trying to say. Like I think that you all are meeting each other when you're both pretty established in your lives, and you have that maturity to know like what you're looking for, what your needs are, what you're wanting. Now, with this Three of Fire, again, I think there's this adventurous side to your future spouse. Like I think that they probably love the outdoors. I think they feel most comfortable when they have time to spend outside, and I think they're quite spontaneous. And if you're someone who's a homebody and you know is pretty like introverted, I do think I could definitely see this person getting you out of your shell, you know, and being a good balance. If you're that introverted homebody, they could be a good balance to you and get you out of your shell, get you out of your comfort zone. You know, this person would really like to have fun and spend quality time with you. I could also see acts of service being a love language here as well. With the Nine of Sea, I do feel like your future spouse is dreaming about you. So I do feel like there's a spiritual connection here already. I think even if your future spouse isn't someone who's into spirituality, I do think that their guides are trying to wake them up to that a little bit. And that could be something that you sort of introduce like formally into their life. But I think that your future spouse, because they come through with also, they have this fire energy to them, but they also have this grounded energy to them as well. Because there's this earthy, outdoorsy kind of element to them. But again, like I think that you may introduce spirituality to them, but I think that their guides are trying to sort of awaken them to this, because I do sense kind of like a soulmate connection here. And I do think that, you know, they could be seeing you in their dreams or getting messages about you in their dreams before they actually meet you, or reconnect with you if this is someone from your past. You know, if this sounds like someone familiar to you, you could have known them in childhood. But I do think that they're getting some sort of messages from you. And I think that you could even communicate with them, like if you address their higher self. I do think you could communicate with them now if you wanted to, but I think they are getting some signs and synchronicities about you. I just don't know if they would necessarily recognize that for what it is, because I'm not really picking up that they themselves are spiritual, or at least in this sense of like being interested in tarot and, you know, occult related things like astrology or crystals and things like that. You know, they could be religious in another sense, you know, or have some sort of spirituality in another sense, but I don't think necessarily like that they are knowledgeable about tarot and things like that. With the Seven of Sky though, like the Seven of Swords energy, again, like I do think your future spouse has been through it in love. Like I do think that they've had their fair share of people being dishonest to them. And I think it's because we have some Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy here, right? And really we have Aries twice because Aries is representing the Emperor as well. So I do think there's a high possibility that because your future spouse is so good-natured and so loving and so giving, that could easily make them, because they are this light, that could attract the wrong sort of people. And so maybe your future spouse has been with people who were draining to their energy, people who took advantage of their generosity and their kindness and that fun loving nature. Like they could have been with people who only wanted them for a fun good time and weren't really willing to stick around, you know, or they could have just attracted people, again, because they have a little bit of flirtatiousness to them. They could, again, just attract these short-lived connections, people who drain them and just leave, you know, because your future spouse is so optimistic and happy-go-lucky and a lot of fun. You can see where that goes, right? They could attract people who just use them up of their positive energy and then leave them high and dry. And so I do think your future spouse has encountered people who were deceiving about their intentions. And so I think that there may be a little bit of an element there of your future spouse being maybe emotionally guarded, but I do think that by the time you guys meet, I think they've done their healing, and I think that because you are meant for them, this is the person you're going to marry, I think they're going to be quite comfortable with you, and those walls aren't really going to stay up for very long. Again, like I do see that once you meet this person, even though you may be meeting them a bit later in life, and I don't mean like extremely later, I just mean by the time you guys are both mature and ready for this connection, I think that once you do meet them, things are going to progress really quickly. Like you might, again, state your intentions very soon. You can move in together fast, get engaged quickly, or not have a long engagement. You could even elope, you know, if that's something that you wanted to do. I could see that being a thing here. Now, with the Nine of Sky, I do think that your future spouse may currently be going through a healing process, especially because we have the Seven of Sky here as well. Remember, that's the Seven of Swords. So it could be that right now they're going through that healing process and they're trying to let go of that anxiety and fear and worry, trying to let the past be the past, you know, connect to the present moment. I think that typically they're very good about living in the present moment, but I think that given what they've been through in love and disappointment, and remember, it could also be disappointment with friendships and family members as well. It doesn't necessarily just have to be a romantic heartbreak, but I do think that they could be in the thick of it right now and maybe coming out on the other side, because it's interesting. We have a card here where the kitty cat looks like it's sleeping peacefully, right? And having these wonderful dreams about shrimp and birds and fish and milk and things. And then over here, we have a cat that can't sleep and is tortured by snakes and hawks and, you know, just dogs and things. So I do think that your future spouse may right now be having some really good days and then some really bad days. Like they're kind of on this emotional roller coaster, and that's what it feels like when you're going through a healing process. Like you could be on cloud nine some days and then other days you're in the thick of it. And so I do think they're coming out on the other side of it, but it's actually a really good sign for you meeting this person, because it tells me that they're doing the work actively to call you in. And I mean, I hope for your part, if there's something that you need to be healing or working through, that you're doing your work on your end as well, because that will help this connection, you know, come together more quickly. Also with the Ace of Earth here, there's definitely potential here for you all to up-level your finances as a result of meeting this person. So maybe this person makes more money than you. Maybe they're better at budgeting money than you. This person also could be a successful business owner. I could see that being a thing as well. Or it could just represent that you have a change in home when you meet this person. So maybe this person is a long distance from you and you move to be with them. Once you guys meet, maybe you meet them while they're traveling for work, or you meet at an event. Something like that could also be a possibility. All right, let's get into your oracle cards now. All right, so when I pulled this first card, I asked what archetype best represents your future spouse. And we have storyteller, ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. Okay, yes, like I definitely feel like, given that we have the Emperor here and the Fire King, your future spouse is going to be someone who's very engaging, someone who's entertaining to listen to. Again, someone who's very funny, very charming, very charismatic. And I do think they've been through a lot. And they'll have a lot to tell you and to share with you, both positive and, you know, difficult experiences. Like I think that this is someone who's probably well-traveled, someone who's met a lot of people, done a lot of things, had a lot of experiences. And if this is someone from your past, storyteller could indicate that you guys have a lot of catching up to do. I think also with storyteller, this could also indicate maybe a career for your future spouse. You know, maybe they do something that involves writing, telling stories, sharing stories, listening to other people's stories, you know, like a travel blogger, or, you know, someone who or even like a therapist. I could see that being a thing. But yeah, just take that as it resonates. But I think mostly the thing here is that communication is going to be great. I think that the conversations that you have with this person will both be philosophical, but also entertaining and funny and lighthearted. Like I think you get the best of both worlds. And I think that yeah, I think your future spouse is also someone who gives really great practical advice, but not in a way where you feel like you're being told what to do, more so in a way where they're sharing experiences, or they're telling you a story about, you know, oh, I know this happened to someone that I used to know, blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, and they make you feel like they're telling you something that they've been through themselves, or that they know someone else has been through a similar thing. Maybe this could help you. You know, it doesn't feel like they're telling you what to do or they're bossing you around in any way. And it's quite respectful when they do give you advice. Okay. We have B. Don't drink all of the life from one flower, for there are many to taste and many to explore. We have indulgence. You are worth every desire, every dream. Demand what is yours, demand what you need. And we have vision. To find enlightenment, seek nowhere, for it lives within you. With this vision card, I do feel like this is indicating your future spouse has traveled a lot, or they've had, you know, there's someone who has like a wide social circle, or they have, you know, they network a lot, they talk to a lot of different people, a little bit of restlessness there in their past, I think. Because I think that at a certain point in time in their life, they were searching for something. And so they were searching for something that was outside of themselves. And I think that as they've gotten older, they've slowed down a bit and they've stopped searching. And now they understand the value, like, I don't need to travel to other countries or faraway places to find myself. Finding yourself is a process of going inward, and so I think maybe this is someone who used to be, really into traveling and moving and meeting different people and, having that restlessness and seeking something outside of themselves. But really they've gone through a process now, I think, of coming home to themselves. And that's part of why they feel so connected in nature. And so you could find that maybe in the past they were really restless, but now it seems like they're really calm, more stable, and maybe into meditation and yoga and things like that, or just again being out in nature. That's very calming, very soothing for them. So yeah, they may have some stories in their past where maybe they were more reckless and more wild and, having a good time. And now it seems like they've slowed down and they've, really come home to themselves. I think they're a lot more confident now in a way that feels authentic. So maybe before there was a little bit of bravado, but now it's true confidence, self-assurance, they know who they are, a lot more stable energy. With this indulgence card, I do think your future spouse enjoys a good time. For sure. I think they enjoy the finer things in life. I think they work hard to play hard, that kind of energy. And I do think that they would quite enjoy spoiling you a little bit. Just noticing the way she's in this bathtub, I could see again acts of service being a love language for your future spouse, or even gift giving. But I don't think it would necessarily be these big over-the-top gifts. I think it would be more they spoil you or give you little surprises, tokens of their appreciation kind of thing. Just ways of showing you that they listen and that they care and that they appreciate you and value you, that kind of thing. And I think that your future spouse definitely has a romantic side to them, just with the roses and the candles here and the moonlight. I do think that they are absolutely capable of being romantic. With this B card here, I do think that this is indicating where your future spouse has been in love. I do think that they have experienced, I don't think your future spouse is someone who's only been in one relationship prior to meeting you, is what I'm trying to say. I think your future spouse has had multiple romantic connections, and, I think that maybe in the past they were more into short-lived connections or casual dating, meeting new people. Again, this restlessness, I think that was in them before. And now I think that they're tired of all of that. They're tired of the dating scene and dealing with all of that, and they just want to settle down with someone and really connect. I think that they see the value more in depth and true intimacy rather than exploring all possibilities. I feel like they're over that. They're done with that. They've been there. They're past that point. Okay, these two cards are indicating where your future spouse is right now in their life currently. We have Sky, Library, Learn from your past, Lessons, Guidance, and Wisdom. And we have Earth, The World Keeps Spinning, Completion, Fulfillment, and Success. I really like these two cards together because this tells me that we were right on track with your future spouse going through a healing journey right now. They're closing out the past and they're welcoming in a new chapter. The earth keeps spinning, the world keeps moving. I gotta let go of the past so I can welcome in my future is kind of the energy here. And you even see past lives up here at the top of the bookshelf. I think that they're clearing out past karma and they're welcoming in a new chapter. And I think you are part of that new chapter. You are the reward for clearing out this karma and, going through that healing process and welcoming in a new future. And I think that they've gained a lot of wisdom from their experiences. And I do think that with completion, fulfillment, and success, I do think that in terms of other areas of their life, like their career, that they have found quite a level of success in those areas. So it feels like everything in their life is kind of primed and ready to welcome you in. The only thing right now is that they're working on emotionally being ready for you, but I think in terms of their stability and their success level, all of that is good to go. Sorry, my cat is like really rolling around a lot if you hear her in the background. All right, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, with this card, I also typically think of the Wheel of Fortune. So there could be a level of like fate, divine timing, again, like that soulmate kind of connection, divine intervention. You could meet this person through unusual circumstances, or this could be someone from your past, someone that you grew up with and were separated from at one point and you're coming back together. So either shared past lives, you know, a soulmate connection, or someone from your childhood, or feel free to claim both messages if both messages are resonating for you. Okay. So these 3 cards, I didn't ask anything in particular. I just said the T on your future spouse. So we have knowledge, we have harmony, and we have new beginnings. Okay. With this knowledge card, again, it says, let me connect above and below, let the knowledge of ancestors flow. I think this is clearing out even karmic debt that wasn't necessarily theirs, or karmic lessons, I should say. There could be like them clearing out generational things that have been passed down, you know, clearing out those lessons. They could be the success story in their family, you know, but I do think your future spouse is likely someone who's very educated, or someone who's just very skilled in an area, someone who's very knowledgeable, someone again who's learned from experiences. I think there's someone who would be like both book smart and street smart, if that makes sense. Like I feel like they've learned a lot through living and having experiences, but I think they've also learned a lot, you know, from formal education. So, and I also think this person would be I'm sorry, my cat is like flicking her tail. I think this person would be someone who someone who's well known in their field of work, and someone who's respected for their knowledge in their field. So I don't think this is someone who would be at an entry-level position in their field. I think this is someone who's already like graduated, you know, been in their field for quite some time. I do think this person does something that requires a college degree, or something that requires a special skill or certification training course. You know, or someone who has started their own business and had to learn how to run a business. There's something there about them having to learn. Like not everyone can do what they do. There's some sort of knowledge and expertise or talent or skill involved in what they do. Like even if it's something creative that they do for work, like if they're a musician, something like that. I mean, they had to learn that instrument. They had to practice that skill. And even like they had to market themselves, right? As an artist, or make connections, network with people, things like that. With harmony here, I do think your future spouse is quite good at leadership and running a team. They're great at collaboration. I think they're great at mediating. You know, if people are having an argument, I think they're great at helping people find a compromise. I don't think that they're a people pleaser, because your future spouse is quite empowered. You know, they have a bit of boss energy to them. But I do think that they're really great at, they might have a lot of 7th house placements, but I just think that they're really great at connecting with people. I think they're quite charming and charismatic, and people listen to them and they speak with a certain level of authority, but not in a way where it's oppressive, more in a way of bringing people together. And yeah, I think that they just like for everyone to get along and everything to be peaceful, but they don't do it in a way where they end up being a doormat and their needs aren't respected. Now, with new beginnings here, again, like I feel like this is signaling like you and your future spouse, I think, are both going to be closing out a cycle, a karmic cycle, quite frankly. And when you close out that cycle, when you walk away from what isn't serving you, or even if you meet your future spouse right when you've like had enough, like you're fed up, they push you to leave what is no longer serving you. Like, there's definitely something there about an ending and them being the beginning, them being the start of a new chapter in your life for both of you. Like, I think that you could also be going through something karmic right now or going through a healing journey. And I think you both are meeting each other when you're fed up with being lied to, deceived, or you're fed up with your current life, you're feeling stuck, you're feeling stagnant, like this isn't resonating with me anymore. And I'm ready to welcome in the new. And so this is a new journey that you guys are both beginning together. Especially if this is long distance, like especially if you're resonating with that message. I mean, moving to be with them or them moving to be with you, that would represent a significant change, right, in your day-to-day life. So just take whatever resonates. All right, so I asked Spirit which 2 zodiac signs best represent the energy of your future spouse. Now remember, this is a general reading, so there's going to be quite a number of you watching. So, you know, you guys aren't all marrying a water sign, for example, right? But we're just going to pick up on the energy, especially the energy that you perceive your future spouse as. So let's see. Okay, we got Sagittarius. And we have Gemini. Oh, this is really cool. Okay, so we were already picking up fire sign energy, right? With the Fire King and the Emperor, we were picking up Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. So we've had Aries confirmed twice, and now we have Sagittarius confirmed twice. So this could be like their sun, their moon, their rising, their Venus, their Mars, or it could also just be indicating that some of you watching are going to marry an Aries and some of you watching are going to marry a Sagittarius. But also, I just feel like in general that fire sign energy, this is suggesting to me that we were right on track with saying that they are well-traveled, someone who's going to be really great at leadership, someone who's going to be really great at bringing people together, someone who's going to value truth and honesty, someone who can make you laugh and entertain you, but also talk about deep philosophical things. Balancing that Gemini and that Sagittarius energy is great. Also, for those of you who are unfamiliar with astrology, Gemini and Sagittarius are opposite signs on the zodiac, okay? So this tells me that your future spouse is really well-rounded and a balanced person, okay? Like, they are really great at being adaptable and fun, and you know, they can balance out the divine feminine and the divine masculine when they need to, right? But then with that Sagittarius energy, they can come through and be quite expansive and adventurous. You know, Gemini talks about sort of the student energy and being a lifelong learner and staying in your community and making a difference, and communication, right? Like, we did get storyteller before. So that makes a lot of sense that we would have Gemini energy coming out, because Gemini rules Mercury, the 3rd house, all about communication. But then on the other side of that, we were picking up adventure and traveling and philosophy and being, you know, sort of that teacher energy. And remember, we also said your future spouse will be great at giving advice, but through sharing experiences, either their own or other people's. So again, like, I feel like this is confirming a lot of the stuff we've already been saying, but I really like to see Gemini and Sagittarius come out, because it just shows us that your future spouse is quite balanced, and they're not someone who's you know, they don't have sort of these extreme personality traits, you know. They're someone who can embody different sides to themselves. Like, they're a really dynamic person, and I think that's what makes them so engaging and so attractive to a lot of people. I think your future spouse is really quite loved and quite liked by a lot of people. I definitely see them as being a social butterfly. Both of these energies are like social butterfly, extroverted energies. So I think your future spouse would be a really great networker as well. I think just a lot of people love them and soak up, you know, their energy. Okay. Yeah, I think that's everything I want to say with that. And also remember, we said your future spouse would be quite direct and kind of blunt in their communication. That's Gemini and Sagittarius energy all day long. So that makes a lot of sense. All right, so these cards are now getting into the love oracle. So these are general love messages for your future spouse. We have true love and we have fun. Okay, so I feel like this is just good to know, like confirming this is true love, this is the person that you're meant to be with, like that is speaking into like the longevity of your marriage, and that, you know, you can feel safe and secure in your decision in choosing this person. I think also with true love being here and the music, if you are resonating with your future spouse being a musician, or maybe that's something that you bond over, maybe you guys are both really into music, or you listen to a lot of the same artists, you know, things like that, could also be indicating that like their heart is calling out to you and you're calling out to them, and there is that soulmate level connection, and you know, this is going to be a divine union. Also here, we've got the 3, so again, like confirming communication is going to be great between you two. This fun, I actually really like how this is lining up, the way I laid this out, but with the Sagittarius energy and the fun, I think there's going to be a lot of flirtatiousness, lighthearted energy. Your dynamic is going to be quite playful together. Again, I think quality time and having adventures and doing things outside of your comfort zone is definitely going to be in the cards. I think your future spouse would plan a lot of exciting, fun dates. You guys would go on a lot of vacations together, take a lot of trips. You know, I think there's an energy here of you guys exploring and yeah, just sharing in experiences, and that's how you guys bond. I definitely think there's going to be a lot of date nights and again, just like fun weekend trips and doing things you've never done before. Okay, so these cards are indicating your future spouse's love life currently. So we have sorry, reconciliation. This card stands for reconciliation and forgiveness. Someone may feel very sorry for their actions and want to apologize, or perhaps you are in this situation. It also may be important to forgive in order to move on. We have calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you two together. And we have karmic relationship. This connection serves as a catalyst to prepare you for real and high vibrational love. You are feeling very pulled to this person, therefore it appears to be the real thing, but it's not. Integrate the lessons that need to be learned. This is confirming all day long what we were picking up with your tarot, with the 7 of Swords and the 9 of Swords. So, yes, I think that currently your future spouse is closing out a karmic relationship, so they could be going through a breakup before they meet you, or they could just have already broken up with that person, but they're working on their healing, you know, and letting that person go. I think with these 2 cards together here, they're working on forgiving that person so they can move on. You know, they don't want to have these energetic ties because they have anger and resentment and baggage, and you know, now they're going to be guarded and all this. Like they don't want to be in that energy. Your future spouse is so lighthearted and so loving. Like I feel like they would be absolutely just wanting to be free, wanting to be done, and so they're forgiving that person or forgiving those people, you know, if it's multiple connections that they need to heal from. They're forgiving them so they can move on, you know, for their freedom. And in doing so, they're calling in you. So this is confirming to us that yes, this is a soulmate connection, and there is an element here of divine timing. So energetically right now, it looks very good from what I'm seeing, because it looks like your future spouse is actively doing the work to call you in, because they're actively working on their healing and forgiving that person or those people so that they can move on and they can be ready for true love, which is you, pile 1. Okay, so these 3 cards, I asked if their higher self wanted to say anything to you at this time, or if Spirit wanted to give us some cards to indicate, again, where they're at in love and where they've been. So we'll determine as we lay them out here. We have, I will wait for a sign from you. I am grateful for the spiritual lesson, and I wish I could take back my words. Okay. I will wait for a sign from you is absolutely from their higher self. I feel like this is their higher self saying, I'm going to wait for a sign from you confirming that you are ready for this. So it's like your higher self is, it's like their higher self is saying to you, like, give us a sign when you're really, really, truly ready for this, because on our end, we're working on it. So energetically, we can match up. So remember how I said before, like if you wanted to communicate with their higher self, you know, the higher self of your future spouse, I think that you would be able to do that just by talking out loud, addressing them, you know, writing to them. You could write a letter to your future spouse's higher self. You could journal about them. You could pray about it. You know, whatever resonates for you, I think that you could do that and communicate with them even now. With I wish I could take my words back, this makes a lot of sense, I think, because no one's perfect, right? So that's something that your future spouse could have learned in this karmic relationship, like on my end, meaning your future spouse's end. They're like, yeah, maybe I was harsh with my words. You know, I could definitely see your future spouse being someone who could cut someone down in an argument, or someone who would speak impulsively and then regret what they've said. You know, someone who may, like, you know, kind of cut you at the knees with their words. So, or even like maybe yell or curse, something like that. If it's a more extreme problem, maybe they do that. But I do think that your future spouse is learning that that's something they need to work on. Because again, no one's perfect, right? So I think your future spouse is understanding the ways in which their words can really hurt and do damage to people, and being more mindful of how they speak when they're angry or upset or feeling hurt. With I'm grateful for the spiritual lesson, I love to see that, because that is sort of the attitude that's going to help them forgive the people that, or the person that has hurt them. Like, I'm grateful for the lesson, thank you, next. You know, like that's the energy, like thank you for the lesson, it's time to move on, like I'm ready for my person now. That is the energy that they need to come into to really call you in. Okay, again, with these two cards, I just let it be a general, like what's the tea on them? We have self-respect and we have manifestation. Yeah, I think that they're absolutely calling you in. Again, like they may not actively be like, I'm manifesting my person, you know, like they may not be into spirituality in that way, but they are absolutely saying like, this is the person that I want. Like they have a clear vision in their mind of the type of love that they deserve and what they need in a relationship. Like they are very mature and very clear about what their needs are and how they deserve to be treated. You know, they're like, I deserve better than what I've gotten. This is what I deserve, and that would be you, pile one. But yeah, so I think they're very clear and direct about what they need and what they desire and what they deserve in love. And again, they're calling you in. They're working on it. Okay, again, I didn't ask any specific questions with these cards. We have fear, we have confidant, and we have confidence. So, okay, several messages with these cards. When you meet this person, there could be a little bit of fear or intimidation. Like there may be something about your energy that throws your future spouse off their game. Because I do think your future spouse, again, flirtatious, charming, everybody loves them. So I think that if you were closed off or maybe you rejected them initially, that would be quite shocking to them, because I don't think anyone typically shoots your future spouse down. Like I think that they are typically very good at dating and flirting and attracting people, so that could, you know, make them want to chase you a little bit. I also think though there could be some mutual fear here, you know, like especially if you guys both have just been through a karmic relationship and you've closed that out and you've done your healing and you're forgiving, like even though you would be open to love, you would still be like cautious and maybe a little bit worried. And you know, can I trust my discernment? Can I trust my intuition? Like, I don't want to make the same mistake twice, you know? So that makes sense. With confidence though, I really feel like your future spouse wants to hype you up, wants to make you feel good about yourself. Like, I think that's just their energy. Like, they're very encouraging, very supportive, and I think that's why people love to be around your future spouse, because they just have this really positive, warm energy to them, you know? Like, they're just goofy and silly and fun. And yeah, I just think that they light people up. And with confidant there, it's really signaling again that your future spouse is someone who you can confide in, someone who would give great advice, great emotional support. Again, I think via like hyping you up and helping you understand your self-worth when you need it, you know, like not that that's their job or anything like that. They have that energy kind of like a life coach. But again, not like that's their job, but we all have bad days, right? And days where we feel down about ourselves. So like if you were having a rough day, I think that, you know, they would be really great at cheering you up and making you laugh and, you know, reminding you how great you are, you know, if you're ever having a moment of insecurity. Yeah, and with confidant also, this could start off as a friendship, but honestly, I see this moving very quickly. So even if you guys start off as friends, I don't think you would be just friends for very long. All right, let's see what goodies are in your mug. So you chose, I work hard so that my cat Gracie can have a better life. Okay, let's see what we have. We're gonna start off with your romance matchsticks. We have create a weekly shared ritual. So you guys may have like a weekly, like this is our date night, or this is our cozy night in together, or we always go to this favorite restaurant on this day of the week, or on Sundays we always have this dessert. I don't know why food is coming up a lot. Maybe your future spouse really likes to cook. Or maybe they're a foodie, they like to try different foods. I don't know why, but food is like really coming up very strongly. But yeah, any weekly shared ritual, you guys might just have like a routine that you guys like to do together. But yeah, I don't know, food is coming up pretty strongly. Let's see, we have turn off your phones and the TV for an evening and talk instead. Communication is like a really big thing between you two. Like you guys love to talk to each other. Like that is one of like the foundational aspects of your relationship, is how well you guys communicate together. And we have pick each other's outfits for the day. I kind of wonder if your style of dressing is quite different, if that's kind of indicating that. Or if you guys, again, just like to be playful and silly and do things like that together. Okay, let's get our love tokens. We have good for a long massage, and we have good for a romantic sunset. Yeah, it feels like your future spouse is quite romantic. I could definitely see them being kind of touchy-feely with you. It kind of feels like your future spouse has, I think because especially if they were into casual dating before, or, you know, they've had a lot of short-lived romantic connections, things like that, I feel like your future spouse is quite adaptable in their love language. Like, we've gotten a lot of stuff come up. Like, I feel like they are absolutely willing to be flexible, and like however you need to be loved, they're like, I got it, sure, whatever. You know, like I think that your future spouse, again, is such a dynamic person. Like if you needed words of affirmation or you needed physical touch, whatever, they're like, yeah, I can do that. Like, no problem. Yeah, like I think for them, they probably really like quality time and, you know, sharing those experiences. But in terms of like your love language, they don't care. Like whatever you want, they'll do. They don't care. But yeah, okay. And good for a romantic sunset. Again, I think they like to be outside and in nature. Okay, so we'll end with your tea. I want to get into specific messages here. Now, if any of these don't resonate, then just leave it. These are more specific messages. Okay, we have love language, acts of service. I remember saying that in the very beginning when you had the bathtub card. Oh my gosh, loves music, musician. Yay, I just love it when we have this confirmations. Okay. We have, they can be more reserved. That's interesting. I don't think that that is how they typically are. That to me is that fear card. They've gone through this process of healing and letting that karmic relationship go, but I think that it maybe shook them up a little bit. Like, I think that they may be a little off their game when they first meet you. Yeah. Okay. We have same age or close in age. Okay, so when you meet them, I think that you guys are both going to be, again, at least in your mid-20s. But they are close in age to you. I just think that when you guys meet each other, you're going to be quite mature and know what you want and love. Okay. Love language, quality time. Yeah, like I think they have multiple love languages. They could have curly or textured hair. Or it could be like wavy. Oh my gosh, stop it. They are messy and disorganized. Sorry guys. I'm like such a neat, clean person, so maybe that doesn't bother you. I would be like, ugh. Okay. They could have an unusual hair color, or that could indicate that they've dyed their hair. Again, if it's not resonating, just leave it. Okay. So the two teas that you got, we've got Earl Grey black tea. And then we have Irish breakfast. Okay. These are very like traditional, like everybody loves Earl Grey tea. You know, everybody loves a good black tea. Like there's several different kinds of black tea. People like it, you know, it's a good standard tea. It's a crowd pleaser. It's not something obscure. You know, it's kind of like, you know, like English breakfast tea. Like people like this tea. So I think that's showing that your future spouse is someone who appeals to a wide audience. You know, everyone kind of loves them. There's something hearty and secure and comforting and warm about black tea. Earl Grey tea is my favorite tea, so I like your future spouse's vibe. But yeah, and I mean, hey, they could be from England or Ireland, if we're gonna be like really basic about it. But yeah, I think there's just something there about your future spouse being very reliable, very dependable. Everyone loves it, you know, it's good. You don't get tired of it, you don't get bored with it. It's a classic, you know, like your future spouse has a timeless sort of energy. Everyone enjoys being around them. So yes, pile one, this was your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun filming this, and yeah, thank you guys for letting me do this reading for you. Best of luck to you in love. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you always know when I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to simply watch the ads. Thank you so much to everyone who's been supporting the channel thus far. I will see you guys in my next one. Take care, pile one. Hey pile two, so if you chose the Love Trope mug, you are in the right place. We'll look at your goodies at the very end of your reading. So we're gonna start off with your tarot. We are using pre-pulled cards because this reading's gonna be quite long. So pile two here, let's lay out your cards and see what we have. We've got the Five of Wands, the Ten of Pentacles, the Magician, the Four of Cups, the Nine of Cups, the Knight of Swords. We have the Devil, and we have the Six of Pentacles. Okay, yeah. Your future spouse has quite a smooth talker kind of energy to them. Like they're quite seductive is how I would describe them. They're someone who's very passionate, someone who's very confident, someone who doesn't mind fighting for your attention, someone who wouldn't mind, like this person wouldn't be intimidated. Like if you told them you were dating other people, it wouldn't even faze them. Like this person is so confident, like they wouldn't even care, you know, like they know, like they know what they have to offer, and they're like, there's no way that, you know, pile 2 would choose these other people because obviously I'm the best choice for them. You know, like your future spouse like really knows like what they have to offer. With the 6 of Pentacles, like they know what they have to give, and they're quite confident like in their body, in their physicality, like with the Devil card, like they're quite confident in their ability to please you physically. You know, this is like very like sexual energy here with the Devil. And I also think that your future spouse is quite confident in their ability to attract and call in what they want. Like even if they're not someone who's like, oh, I'm great at the law of attraction, you know, even if it's not that kind of energy, but just that they know what they want is also wanting them. Like they just know that they can attract what they want into their life. That's just this confidence about them, you know, like they know who they are, they know what they have to offer. And I think with the 4 of Cups, there may be an energy here of you not seeing them for what they have to offer. Like you may have kind of this energy about you where maybe you're like, this person is like too attractive or too charming or too, like, you know, like a little bit too silver-tongued for my taste. Like they're too, like, they're just telling me what I want to hear, or they're just flattering me, or this person's just a flirt. You know, like I feel like in the beginning, maybe you discount your future spouse in some ways because you think maybe they have player energy. And I can't really blame you for thinking that way, because your future spouse does have this energy, again, of like being very charming, and like you may be a little bit suspicious of that, or this person is too good looking or too, you know, like you're like, like who else are they talking to, you know? That could be your energy. But with the 9 of Cups here, I think that if you look deeper past that superficial kind of aspect to them, that first impression they give off, I think that you would see that this person is everything that you've been wishing and hoping for. And this person actually has quite the ability to be someone stable and secure and reliable with the 10 of Pentacles. I just think that in the beginning, your future spouse may come on too strong, or they may have that, you know, player energy to them. There may be some aspect of them that you think like this person is too good to be true, or there could even be a little bit of jealousy or possessiveness to them. Like I think if your future spouse had to work on anything, because no one is perfect, okay? Like no one is perfect. Like before you judge your future spouse too harshly, look at yourself, because I'm sure there's something that you have to work on too, pal, too. Like I can think off the top of my head what I need to work on. Like I can be a little bossy, you know, like that would, I'm a Leo, you know, like that could be something that I need to work on. So I'm sure there's something that you need to work on as well, pal, too. But for your future spouse, I think that, you know, you see how the dragon here is like clinging to its hoard. So it could be that maybe your future spouse can be a little bit jealous or possessive. You know, like this is the type of person that would put their arm around you, you know, just letting everyone else know that you're mine kind of thing. Like, yeah, I do think your future spouse has quite a strong divine masculine energy as well, I should say that. And remember, we're just talking about energy, we're not talking about gender, but I definitely think that your future spouse also likes to be kind of the loudest in the room. Like, you know, they like to be the center of attention, they like the spotlight to be on them, and yeah, I think that they have this sort of authority to them. Like people do sort of look to them for leadership and guidance, I think, in business as well. But yeah, I do think with the Knight of Swords, your future spouse would probably approach you. They would probably come on to you, make the first move, flirt with you. Yeah, and I think they're good at it. Like, I think that they are good at flirting and being, like I said, like a smooth talker. I just think that you, at the time of your life when you meet this person, like, you're looking for something stable and secure, and you may think that this person isn't capable of that, but they absolutely are. They absolutely are. I just think that you kind of have to get past that sexy bravado flirtatiousness player energy. You have to get past that sort of veneer or facade that they present with, and you get deeper, and then you start to connect with that emotional intimacy, and then you start to understand like how giving they are and how sweet they are, and that softer side to them that I think is kind of buried under all of that masculine energy is kind of like the energy that I'm picking up on. I don't really have a lot else to say about them. So let's get into your oracle. I know I talked a lot more in pile 1 with their tarot, but your person is kind of more of like what you see is what you get, kind of in the initial stages, and I think that you kind of have to peel back the layers of them to get to that emotional intimacy and connection. But I think that your future spouse just likes to keep it light and fun and flirty in the beginning. Yeah, and I should say also, this person would probably try to make a physical move towards you early on, and if you're someone who's more reserved in that manner, you know, you don't want to sleep with someone on the first date, or you know, you like to take things slow in terms of physical intimacy, I do think that they would be willing to wait for you. I just think it would be difficult for them. Like, they're not used to that, and their ego might be tied up in that a little bit. Like, if you turn them down, I don't think that they would be, again, accustomed to that. I think they're usually told yes all the time because, again, like, they have a very sexy, attractive kind of energy to them. And so I think that while that may initially hurt their ego, I think that they would be like, wow, like, this person is very clear about their boundaries, you know, like, they have a lot of self-respect. And I think that they would have patience with you in that aspect. You know, they wouldn't try to pressure you or rush you into anything. Because I think that your future spouse has a lot of self-respect, and they know who they are, and they, you know, they have that kind of, I don't know, just a strong, commanding kind of presence. And so to see you set a boundary with them, and again, I don't think this message is for everyone, but if you're someone who likes to take things slower, I think in terms of physical intimacy, I think your future spouse would respect that and would say, oh, okay. You know, like, just because you guys are very different in that way doesn't mean that they're not willing to accommodate or adapt to your needs. Okay. So let's get into your oracle. So with your first oracle card, I asked, which archetype best represents your future spouse? I'm sorry. You guys, I'm sorry. This is too perfect. You guys have Don Juan, spotlights your positive, seductive qualities, uses the power of romantic attraction for private agendas. Yeah, your future spouse is quite seductive. Yeah, I think that that may be why there's some hesitancy there on your part. You're like, are they serious? You know, are their intentions towards me, you know, for a one-night stand, or are they genuinely wanting a real long-term connection? Now remember, this is your future spouse, so like, you do marry this person, you know, and I think that on your part, if you can suspend judgment about their past, that would help this out a lot. Because yeah, I do think your future spouse has had their share of romantic liaisons in the past, and you know, like, you may have some thoughts about that, you know, but I do think that your future spouse is quite, again, like, alluring, magnetic, seductive. Like, I do think that they're very comfortable in their body. I think your future spouse is very physically attractive, but also their energy, like they're great at flirting, like they know what they're doing, you know, they just have this quality to them that people like, that people are drawn to, you know. I don't think that they have any trouble attracting romantic partners, and yeah, they could be great at dancing as well. That could be a thing. All right, so I didn't ask a specific question with these cards, so we'll just flip them over. We have Phoenix, summoned your flesh, rises from the ashes and into the expansive flame of your soul. We have Orgasm, thrust your body, elevate your spirit, open the gates to your renewal. I'm not surprised by this card. And we have Ribbons, for it lives in the silk of my binding, the knots of my truth, the eye of becoming, the witness swallowed in stillness. Okay, the red thread of fate, right? Yeah, this is your person. I don't know if you're happy about it, but this is your person. Again, like don't be so put off about their past and like, you know, what they've been and who they've been with. Because I do think they're quite serious about you. This is kind of the energy of someone who's never been serious about anybody before, and then they meet the one, and then to everyone's shock and surprise, they settle down and they commit. This is the person that no one ever thought would commit. This is the person that everyone thought they would be single and a player for the rest of their days. They didn't think that they would be loyal and stable and honest and able to commit to marriage, but here they are doing it, you know? This is really reminding me of Russell Brand, and I know I referenced him before in a love reading. I just can't remember which reading it was, but there was some reading I did where he came into my mind because he was someone who was known for, he was married to Katy Perry very briefly. He's an English comedian, for those of you who don't know. But he was absolutely like Shagger of the Year over there in Britain. And he was known for being a player. His marriage to Katy Perry didn't last very long, but now he's settled and married, and I think has like 2 or 3 kids. So yeah, like people do change, you know, and people do settle down. And so I think there's like a reassurance here that your future spouse is your person. They are going to be loyal to you. You can trust them. They're not going to cheat on you or betray you or anything like that. Like, you two are meant to be together, okay? But they've had their fun. We're not gonna say they haven't had their fun, because they have. With Orgasm here, I think obviously physical touch is a big thing to your future spouse. Physical passion is a big thing. That's how they express their love. And, you know, if you're someone who is uncomfortable with that aspect, you know, you may be like, yeah, like, great. My love language is physical touch too. But if you're someone whose love language isn't physical touch and you prefer, you know, emotional intimacy, speaking, words of affirmation, something like that, then this could be sort of an area where you balance out your future spouse and your future spouse balances out you, okay? So like maybe you are a bit uncomfortable in your body, and your future spouse helps you heal that and helps you see how beautiful and attractive and wonderful you are. And you have a level of physical intimacy with them that you've never experienced before. And maybe your future spouse is uncomfortable sharing their more feminine side, and so you help them open up to emotional intimacy and connection, okay? So like you could be bringing them more depth, you know, in terms of emotional intimacy, and they could be helping you feel more comfortable physically expressing your love and attraction for each other. So, you know, just take it as it resonates. But I think in terms of physical passion and connection here, it's going to be off the charts. Now with Phoenix, again, I think there's more than what meets the eye with your future spouse. Like, I feel like they have been through challenges in their life, difficult circumstances, and I don't think that you would know that the first time you meet them. Like, I don't think there's someone who wears their heart on their sleeve. Like, I think that, you know, that kind of stuff is buried pretty deep down, and I think they're gonna share things with you that they've never shared with anybody else before. And they're really going to have a lot of trust in you that, again, I don't think they've ever experienced that before, where they could open up. Again, like going back to Russell Brand, like if you read his Wikipedia page, like it's wild. Like his childhood was very difficult. I think his mom had cancer like 3 times. His dad wasn't around. He had like an eating disorder. There was a lot going on in his childhood. So it could be something similar, like where your future spouse had a difficult childhood, or, you know, just went through a lot of challenges, or they had to be an adult at a young age because they didn't have a stable home environment, you know, like they had to grow up really quickly, or they were taught like you have to be the man of the house. And that's why, for those of you who are interested in a male, maybe that's why there's this bravado and this really strong masculine energy, you know, that could be from their childhood, where they were taught like it's wrong to cry, it's wrong to, you know, like that's a weakness, that kind of thing. You know, that traditional sort of idea of strength that could be coming out. But I do think your future spouse has had to go through transformations. They've had to go through difficult cycles. They've had to do a lot of healing, and they've had to rise from the ashes. With this Phoenix card, like they've been through a lot. And again, like it's going to vary because it's a general reading, you know, what the actual specific scenarios were that they went through. But I do think they'll be sharing things with you, again, that, you know, they've never shared with anyone else before. I'm just making sure we're still filming. I'm a little bit paranoid about that today. Okay. So these 2 cards are representing where your future spouse is at currently in their life. We have Cosmic Highway. The universe is on your side. Signs, divine guidance, and synchronicity. And we have Halfway Point, meet in the middle, compromise, common ground, and reconciliation. Okay, there's a lot of messages coming up with these 2 cards. I really like how well they work together, like halfway point, meet in the middle, and then this is a highway. Like I kind of see that as like you working on yourself, your future spouse is working on themselves, you know, doing whatever that you got to do to come into union. And you guys are both like on track to meet each other, you know, like you're both already on your way to meeting each other. Like I think that's very cute. Like that just initially was my vibe with these 2 cards coming out together. I also think that there's an element here of divine timing, similar to pile 1, where, you know, energetically here, you are on track to meet each other when you get into this vibrational alignment, so that divine timing. So we can't say specifically when you're gonna meet, but when you guys are both ready, that will be the moment in which you come into union. So yeah, so signs, divine guidance, synchronicity, your guides are actively working to bring you 2 together, you know, so your higher selves are probably already in communication with one another. And to me, this does say like your future spouse is, you know, working on themselves in some capacity here, or certain things maybe need to be released or let go of before you can come into union. And so like they're making progress is what I'm trying to say. Like they're making progress in terms of meeting you, you know, doing what they need to do to come into union with you. With this halfway point, meet in the middle, I do think that there's sort of this overall theme of your relationship with your future spouse. I think this is kind of an opposites attract energy, to be honest with you. Like, as I felt this need in the beginning to kind of reassure you, because I think that there's some anxiety or hesitancy on your part about like, is this really my future spouse? Like, I don't know if I'm into that. You know, like, I think that maybe there's like, kind of like this energy here of your future spouse almost being like overly confident and kind of in their ego a little bit, whereas you maybe are overly humble or overly like you downplay your self-worth, and there's a need for you two to meet in the middle. Like they need a little bit of your humility and you need a little bit of their bravado, you know, like a little bit of their confidence. And so I think that you two have a lot to learn from each other, but in a way that's very healthy, organic, easy. Like, I don't think that, I mean, it's not a karmic relationship is what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, like it's definitely something that's meant to stand the test of time. But it's sort of like you learn through this relationship with each other. I don't think it's always going to be easy and happy and, you know, I don't think this is a simple love story. I do think this is a love story that is one for the books, you know, like there's something cinematic about it. There's something very romantic about it. I mean, you did choose like the love trope mug. So I do think that this is going to be a love story that is exciting and a love story that is passionate and a love story that is, again, like something that you could write a novel about. You know, it's not always going to be the easiest connection, but it's a connection that's worth fighting for. And it's a connection that is going to help you align with your higher self. Like, you guys are meant to help each other grow, and it kind of gives me like power couple energy here, because you have so much to learn from them and they have so much to learn from you, and together you guys are so strong, and I think you can achieve so much together. It's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's very romantic and poetic and just wonderful. But yeah, I do think there's going to be times in your marriage where you have to compromise and meet in the middle, and you know, there may be some ups and downs, and maybe you have some difficult arguments and you have to reconcile and forgive each other. But again, like, they're not always wrong and you're not always right, you know, like there's a need here for compromise. Okay, so these cards here, I'm sorry, my cards are a little out of order. I didn't ask any specific questions, just asked for the tea on your future spouse. So we have divine guidance, whispers from beings who shine, let their messages be clear and kind. We have sensuality, again and again and again. We have your freedom flowing from far away. I dance, I love, I laugh, I play. Aww. And we have true love come to me. True love shall come to me. As I do will, so mote it be. Yeah, this person's your true love. Like, I just love to see this reassurance for you, pile two. Like, this is your person. This is your person. I think you're going to have a long and happy marriage. I don't think it's going to be a dull marriage. I think it's going to be quite exciting. But yeah, I definitely feel like this is your true love. You know, this is a love story, again, like you could write a novel about. With sensuality here, like, yeah, the physical attraction, your, you know, the sexual aspect, the physical intimacy of your connection is going to be quite a significant part of your marriage. But I also think just in general with sensuality, like, this is a connection where you're really going to sort of like live life to the fullest. Like, I feel like this person comes into your life and they add in a vibrancy. Like, your life was black and white and they bring in the color, like that freedom, like that sense of like, because I think maybe you're someone who's more like reserved, or someone who's more introverted, or someone who holds back a little bit. Maybe you're more self-conscious, whereas again, like, they're overly kind of confident. So I think they are very comfortable in their body, and so I think that they would help you get out of your shell and, like, you know, like dance, love, laugh, play. Like, I just think that they bring this vibrancy to your life. And yeah, Pile 1 had an element of pulling them out of their comfort zone. This is like dragging you out of your comfort zone, again, because I think it's like an opposites attract kind of dynamic here. With divine guidance, I feel like this is just reassuring you that your guides are working to bring you two together, and this is meant to be. Okay, all right. So these two cards are indicating the two zodiac signs that your future spouse is embodying. So obviously not all of you are going to marry, you know, like a water sign, for example. But this is the two dominant energies that you perceive your future spouse as. So this could be their rising, their sun, their Venus, their Mars, their moon. But it could also just be, again, like the energy that you are perceiving them as. So we have Scorpio, And we have Aries. This is kind of funny to me because these two signs, like Scorpio is a very sexual energy, right? Aries is also a sexual energy because they both are ruling Mars, which is a very masculine energy, very impulsive, sexual, heat, passion, anger, like it's all wrapped up in Mars energy, right? And it's that warrior, so like they're gonna fight for you, but also like they're gonna be like so direct about their intentions and what they want from you, and you know, they're gonna be very over the top when they're flirting with you. They're gonna want to chase you, they want to win you over, you know, like, and you may feel like I'm not a conquest, like stop it, you know. And again, like that's where you guys kind of need to meet in the middle there a little bit and reconcile your differences. But yes, I do think like the passion, the heat, and Scorpio gets pretty deep, like it's still a water sign. So you have this fire, right? Like you have this impulsivity and this passion and this just bravado kind of energy, this heat. But then you also have this capacity for deep emotional intimacy and sharing these deep, dark things, that Pluto energy, those things that are hidden, right? So it's not that your future spouse doesn't have depth. They have more emotional depth than the average person, but it's just buried underneath all this fire that's very overt. So there is another side to your future spouse. They are just very private and very secretive, and they don't share that with everybody. And so I think that when they do open up to you, you're gonna feel very like privileged. Like, wow, like they really trust me to share something like that with me, that deep emotional pain, those deep wounds. Like, I think you're gonna feel so special that they are willing to open up and share that with you, because they don't share that side to them with anyone else. And then, let's see, there was something else that I was getting here. Oh, that jealousy and possessiveness. Like, yeah, I would say like that would be the one thing that they need to work on, is that. Like, given the fact that these two energies have come out, I would say, yeah, like that is, and I think you're gonna, like, if you were resonating in the beginning, how I said, like, if you're someone who likes to take things physically slow, they are willing to do that for you. But I think on your end, they may be, with that Scorpio energy, very private, and you would need to extend patience towards them and how long it takes them to emotionally be vulnerable with you, because I think emotional intimacy is difficult for them. And, you know, if they're willing to be patient with you in terms of physical intimacy, I do think you owe it to them to be patient in terms of emotional intimacy. Again, that's not going to apply to everyone, but if you're resonating with that, just be mindful of that meet in the middle card, okay? All right, so let's get into the rest of your cards. These two cards, I didn't ask for anything specific. I just said, like, can you share some love messages? Okay, we have passion again and respect. I really like to see this passion card. I feel like we've been talking about it over and over again. Like, I don't feel like I need to explain too much of that card, but I do like to see respect come out, because if you're worried that your future spouse is going to be someone who uses you for your body or something like that, I feel like to see that there is really reassuring, that they're going to respect you. Like, even if you slept with them on the first night, they wouldn't have less respect for you, you know, like they're not going to judge you for that. There's not, like, your future spouse, even though they're very masculine, and even though maybe in childhood they were taught certain traditional masculine ideals, as an adult, there's nothing here that indicates toxic masculinity. Like, there's nothing about any of this to me that has indicated that they have any toxic masculinity. Like, the only thing we've seen is that they can be a little bit jealous and a little bit possessive. And I think that's more in relation to their ego than their masculinity. You know, there's a subtle difference there. And I think that's important to acknowledge here, that your future spouse respects you, especially because they are willing to be patient with you if you are wanting to take things physically slower, even though that's how they express love and connect. But yeah, respect, like they do respect you. I want to make that very clear, especially for any females who are watching who are apprehensive about that. They do respect you. Okay, so these cards are going to, sorry, I'm stuttering. These cards are going to tell us their current energy and love, what is happening in their love life right now. So we have in the now. Being in the now is important for your love life at this moment. Release any expectations or worries about your future. Only in the now can you manifest and influence your current love situation. We have this could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner that you seek. And we have different paths. You and this person are no longer on the same page. What you want in life may differ from what they want. It's time to face it if the road ahead is still with this person, or if it's better to move on to something new. Okay. Several different possibilities here. It's a general reading, so if something isn't resonating, then leave it. For some of you, you could have already met your future spouse and you went down a different path, and now you will be like calling them back in and you will be reconnecting with them. And they could be trying to manifest like you coming back into their life. And that could be as simple as them saying like, man, I wonder what so-and-so is up to. I would like to meet them again, and setting that intention. Maybe not necessarily them practicing the law of attraction, although they could. For others of you though, your future spouse is currently going through sort of a breakup or an ending with someone that they thought was the one, but now they understand they're on a different path, they want different things, and they're letting that person go, and they're just staying in the moment, you know, taking things day by day, like just being in the present moment, you know, whatever happens, happens, like I'm just going with the flow, living my best life, and if I meet someone, great, if I don't, whatever, like, you know, I'm just gonna wait for the one, I'm letting this other person go. I think also, for others of you, this could be indicating that your future spouse has been through quite a few short-lived connections with people that they thought were the one, and now they realize that that was just something that was completely wrong for them, and now they're getting more serious. Like they're understanding that, you know, all those casual short-lived flings weren't making them happy, they weren't bringing them real fulfillment, and they want to go down a different path, and they're wanting to settle down now. So again, like different scenarios, different possibilities, just claim whichever is resonating. Okay, so with these three cards, I gave Spirit two options. I asked if Spirit wanted to say like general messages about what your future spouse has been through in love, or if your future spouse's higher self wanted to send you a message right now, they could come through. So we'll see what these cards are and then make our determination. So it says, you speak to me through music. So many things remind me of you, and I want to feel that way again. Okay, so for some of you, maybe you have met this person before and this is like a second chance kind of romance. For others of you though, could be that your future spouse is sort of reminiscing and thinking back, like maybe they had one serious relationship in the past and it didn't work out, and then they had a bunch of short-lived flings, and now they're thinking back to like, wow, I was actually really happy when I was in a committed relationship. I would like to feel that way again. I'm tired of all of this casual dating, or, you know, just having physical connections with people and nothing else. You know, I want to settle down now. You speak to me through music, I think is their higher self coming through and saying that they are getting messages from you through songs. So they are connecting with your higher self through music. So your future spouse gets messages about you through songs. So that could be like your future spouse is having a really bad day and a certain song comes on the radio and it just, or on their playlist, whatever, and it just speaks to them, and it's your higher self trying to comfort them. That would be an example, okay? Or they could be getting hints about who you are through music. Okay, I didn't ask a question with this, I just said the T on your future spouse. So we got the Rainbow Reviver. Oh my gosh, this is, remember when I said before, they were bringing back vibrancy into your life, like your life was black and white, and they are bringing in the color. Oh my gosh, I love that. That lines up so well. The Divine Feminine. Okay, they are bringing back the color into your life, okay? You are bringing in divine feminine energy to them because they are so in their divine masculine. And that's where you guys are meeting in the middle. You are bringing the divine feminine energy and they are bringing the divine masculine. This is all coming together. This is making me so happy. I love it. I love it so much. So you were bringing in that emotional side. You are bringing in the go with the flow, the receiving energy. You are bringing in a sense of calm, whereas they are bringing in this sort of energized, like action-oriented energy. So yeah, meet in the middle, that common ground between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Yeah, this could be like twin flame energy. I will say that as well. I won't get into all of that, but yeah, this is absolutely a divinely guided connection here. Okay, let's see what else we have. We have acceptance, we have support, and we have temperance. I really love to see these cards in your reading because I do think there's a lot here about accepting each other's differences, but also seeing the value in how they're different from you. And I think you're gonna be quite curious and quite enamored by how different they are to you. And I think that even when it makes you nervous how different you are from them, I think it's going to make you feel really curious and like you want to know more, and you're going to be quite swept up in this person's energy and quite enamored with them, even in spite of yourself. Even when it makes you scared, I feel like there's such a pull to this person, that red string of fate, where you can't help but come back to them. And if you are resonating with this being someone from your past, again, like red string of fate, like this was meant to be a reunion, like maybe you had to be separated to learn some lessons and grow up, but you were meant to come back together when the timing was right. With support, I do think that there's going to be a lot of mutual support and respect here. Again, like I think you guys are meant to do big things together and meant to learn a lot from each other. And yeah, I think they're going to be your biggest supporter, your biggest fan. They're definitely going to be someone who, yeah, just really genuinely cares a lot for you. And we have temperance here. This is Sagittarius energy. Definitely there is a spiritual side to this connection, and I think that you two are meant to balance each other out, and I think that you're meant to learn how to handle each other's differences with grace and to find that middle ground and that compromise. All right, so let's get into your goodies now. Let's see, we'll start with the Spark Romance Matchsticks. We have, oh, this one's my favorite. We have Plan a Scary Day, a roller coaster, a horror movie, or a haunted house. I love roller coasters, so I always like to see that one come out. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of excitement and fun in your relationship. We have a tickle fight. I'm not surprised by that with your future spouse's energy. And we have create a relationship bucket list. So create a list of things that you guys want to do while you're together. Again, like this energy of living life to the fullest. Okay, let's get your love tokens. We have good for a candlelit dinner and good for a date night. Yeah, like your future spouse likes to go out and do things. They want to have fun. Now, these are more specific messages, so if something's not resonating, just leave it. So your future spouse is really clean and neat. They love coffee. Let's see. Okay, they could be a healer. So this could be indicating what they do for their job. So they could work in the mental health profession, they could have some sort of spiritual occupation, or they could work in the medical profession. They could also just have a very healing energy. I think in a sense of like, not like emotionally healing, but more so in the sense of like healing people's self-worth, because I think there's something there about them being so confident that they're able to help other people connect with their confidence and their self-respect and their self-worth in that, in that regard. Okay, successful in their career. They can be really empathetic. I think that's that Scorpio energy coming through. Like, I don't think that they seem like someone who would be capable of great emotional depth, but they are. I think looks are deceiving with your future spouse. I think they have a lot more depth than what initially meets the eye. Okay, they could be older than you. And that could mean like they're 2 weeks older than you, okay? Like, it doesn't have to be a significant age gap, although it could be, So just take whatever resonates. This doesn't surprise me at all. We have wine and dine courtship. I do think they're going to put in a lot of effort to show you that they're serious about you and that they're not just in it for the physical aspect. I think that they are really willing to pursue you, put in the time, put in the effort. Like they are absolutely, like, you could turn them down and I don't think it would faze them. I think they would continue to try to chase you. And if this is someone from your past, like they could be wanting to show you that they've changed, that they've grown up. Okay. So these are the 2 T's that best represent your future spouse. We have sweet tangerine, positive energy. And we have cinnamon stick, black tea. This is the spiciness. Like, this is that physical intimacy, that passion. You guys are very physically compatible together. I think that's your future spouse's overall energy, is that they're sexy and attractive, and there's a lot of spice. They're adding spice to your life, and they're adding color and positive energy with the sweet tangerine. And I do think there's a sweetness to them that, again, like, isn't immediately apparent. I think they come off as someone who's so strong, and capable, but I think there's a softer side to them where they've been so hurt and they've been through so much, and it's just going to make you feel probably quite maternal towards them in some ways, like you want to take care of them, or like you want to help them, like, again, bring in that divine feminine kind of healing energy to them. And again, like, I think they're going to help you bring in more of like the divine masculine, and that's where you guys meet in the middle. Hi Pile 2, I forgot to say in your reading that I had watched a video recently about like divine masculine archetypes, and I'd also watched a video on divine feminine archetypes, but I do feel like your future spouse is best represented by the lover divine masculine archetype. There's a lot of videos on YouTube about this, so I'm pretty sure, like, if you just look in the search bar for divine masculine archetypes, you'll find a video on it. But I do think your future spouse is represented by the lover, and so this is someone who really seeks indulgence and someone who wants, again, to live life to the fullest. This would be someone who is very cultured and someone who wants to experience like pleasure. So physical intimacy would be a part of that, but also like food and the finer things in life, and again, like cultural experiences. And this would also be someone who is maybe creative or artistic, someone who has maybe that side to them as well. Also someone who would be like probably well dressed, someone who has a distinctive style. And so you guys can look up that archetype if you want more details, but I was reminded of that as I was going through your reading, and I don't think that I said that. If I'm repeating myself, I apologize. But I was setting up for pile 3 and it just came to me that I was like, oh, I don't think I mentioned that. So yes, sorry about that, pile 2. But yes, pile 2, this was your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Thank you guys so much for letting me do this reading for you. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you always know when I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to simply watch the ads. Thank you guys so much again for letting me do this reading for you. Thank you so much to everyone who's been supporting the channel thus far. And best of luck to you in love, and I will see you guys in my next one. Take care, pile 2. Hi pile 3, welcome to your reading. Last but not least, so we'll get into your goodies at the very end of your reading. We're going to start off with your tarot pile 3. My voice is starting to go out a little bit. It's been a while since I filmed a longer reading, so just bear with me please. But yeah, let's find out the tea on your future spouse. And let me just make sure that you can see this. So we have the Devil, we have the 10 of Wands, we have the Princess of Cups, we have the 5 of Swords, the Star, the 6 of Pentacles, making sure you can see that still. We have the 9 of Wands, the 8 of Pentacles. I remember you guys got more tarot, I think, than the other 2 groups. We have the King of Swords, and we have the 6 of Swords. Okay. So, full house here, right? A lot going on. I do think that your future spouse is someone who has quite a divine feminine energy to them. I was really drawn to the Pastel Journey Tarot. I didn't use this tarot deck for the other 2 groups, but I do think your future spouse has more of a divine feminine energy to them. Again, just remember this is energy. We're not talking about gender. But I do think your future spouse has this sort of dynamic where they're so strong and resilient and they have been through so much in their life, but it's like people don't see that. People see them as someone who's very soft and sweet, and they look at them like they've had a very easy life, and they haven't. Like, I think that your future spouse has been through quite a lot. With the 9 of Wands and the 10 of Wands being here, as well as the 5 of Swords and the 6 of Swords, like, they've just had to leave behind a lot of situations where they were putting in so much effort, they were putting in so much work, and there was so much conflict and competition and people being jealous of them and projecting insecurities and just nonsense onto them. Like, I think your future spouse is such a soft, compassionate, sweet person, but it's like people take advantage of that and they discount them, and then they find out really quick how strong your future spouse actually is. And it's a shame that people mistake their sweetness and their kindness for weakness as often as they do. But I also feel like your future spouse is quite a spiritual person as well. And I think that has been what has gotten your future spouse through, is that's why they keep working hard. That's why they keep chipping away and trying to achieve their dreams with the 8 of Pentacles here and the Star. It's that hope, it's that faith, that belief that things can get better, and this belief that as much of a struggle as it has been for them in their life, that they can continue to work with spirit, and that eventually these scales are going to balance out and they will get what is owed to them. That good karma is going to come in, their ship is going to come in. And yeah, I feel like they've had to let go of a lot, you know, things that were dead ends, you know, paths that weren't meant for them, people, connections, places that weren't meant for them that they had to let go of. You know, I think that they've had to be alone quite a lot in their life, and that they've had to rely just on this connection with spirit to get them through. With the Princess of Cups, I do think your future spouse has this energy, almost like this coquettishness, I think that's the word, like this flirtatiousness that isn't really intentional. Like, I think there's something about your future spouse that is very attractive, but not in a way that's like seductive. More of an attraction that's like very sweet and good-natured and kind of like a girl next door, boy next door kind of vibe. Like, it's like this innocence to them is so appealing and so attractive. Like they just seem like such a good person, such a kind-hearted person, and that definitely draws people into them. I definitely think that your future spouse has had to deal with people, again, trying to take advantage of them. With the Devil card, people who came in who couldn't provide their own light, and so they were draining to your future spouse's light. I also think that maybe there were some self-limiting beliefs and, you know, sort of like your future spouse believing what other people were saying about them and not recognizing their own strength. And so it's like Spirit had to put them through all of these challenges to show them who they really were, like a lion that was raised by sheep, you know, and didn't know that they were a lion. And then the future spouse, the Spirit had to awaken your future spouse and show them that they are in fact a lion, you know, like that's kind of the energy here, is that everything that happened to them was meant to happen to them for their highest good. So kind of that energy of like, oh, it's happening for you, not to you, you know, like I think your future spouse is quite spiritually wise and connected. And again, like they've just been put through so many challenges like over and over again, and they've had to go it alone, and they've had to keep their faith and their belief that things can get better. They're so hardworking. They're so ambitious, and yeah, they get knocked down and they get right back up, you know, like it's like that Cardi B song, Get Up 10. Like that song is playing in my head. But yeah, and I think despite all that, like even though they have been put through the ringer, they are still so optimistic, so hopeful. They're still kind, they're still compassionate, they're still giving. Like, and I think that capacity for forgiveness is what really makes them so strong. Like I think they've had so many people let them down, betray them, disappoint them, and they still extend forgiveness and compassion towards those people. Yeah, like they haven't let life make them bitter or cold. Like they still have this heart of gold that I think is very inspiring and very beautiful. With the King of Swords though, I'm not getting like the best vibe off of this King of Swords. I kind of wonder, especially with the Devil card being here in the Six of Swords, I kind of wonder if your future spouse has some kind of unhealthy connection in their life that they need to walk away from. There's something oppressive about that King of Swords, something that's not good for them about that King of Swords. So this would be a divine masculine, an air sign, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, someone in their life that's not good for them. This could also be, though, maybe some negative self-talk that they need to stop. But honestly, I think this is someone in their life that's not good for them in some way, someone that they need to walk away from, someone that is using them in some way. And maybe it's a situation that they're tired, that they're sick of, and that there's a lot of conflict. Maybe they put in all the work with this person and this person just drains them. Yeah, this could be maybe a current partner that they need to walk away from before they can welcome you in, or this could be a boss that's just really mean to them and takes their ideas and claims them as their own. This could be a parent who is, you know, like just not very kind to their child. So just take whatever resonates, but it's a general reading, so who this is could vary. But I think that King of Swords, kind of unkind to your future spouse here, not good for them. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I see. I think just, again, hardworking, resilient, strong, sweet, kind, loving, compassionate. I think that's everything that I'm getting, but also, again, like very spiritual, very spiritual. Okay, let's get into your oracle now. So with this card, I asked which archetype is best representing your future spouse. So we have the companion, loyalty, tenacity, and unselfishness. that word tenacity, I don't know what it was, but maybe it was like a week ago or something. I was dreaming in my sleep, and for some reason, the word tenacity it was like every version of the word, like tenacious, like tenacity, like it was repeating in my mind, in my dream. And I woke up and I was like, what is this? Like, I've never just dreamed of a repeating word, and it was so out of context to the rest of the dream. Like, it didn't really, it was so odd. And now, like, to see that word come up in a reading, like, I don't know, that's kind of funny. But yeah, this unselfishness, like, I think that your future spouse is someone who is a really great friend, like someone who's really kind, someone who's going to be a true partner to you, someone who's going to be loyal, reliable, honest, someone who's going to be very giving, someone who is someone who can provide unconditional love, like as close as humanly possible, right? Because we all have conditions, but as close as you can get to unconditional love, that's what this person would be willing to provide to you. And that tenacity, I think, speaks to that perseverance, that they get knocked down but never knocked out, like that resiliency. I think that they have been through a lot of 10 of Swords moments in their life. I think they've been put through the ringer a lot in their life, and the people and connections that have betrayed them and let them down. And so, yeah, I really think that this is someone that you can rely upon. I was telling Pyle too, I was watching some videos, they showed up on my home feed, of the divine feminine archetypes and the divine masculine archetypes, and your group is reminding me of the divine feminine archetype of the mystic. You can look this up on YouTube, there's several videos about it, but I definitely get that energy also from your future spouse, of like really caring about the home and wanting to be in their own energy and really being mindful of who they share their energy with, because they have this warm yellow kind of aura to them. They have this inner light and this inner goodness, and then other people, your light can attract moths and bugs and, people who just drain you. And so they're really mindful and careful about who they share this light with. And I'm looking at this mug. It just occurred to me, like, this is yellow, and then you chose the tarot cats, like you chose literally, like, the high priestess is on here, like you chose, yeah, that would make a lot of sense for the mystic, right? Like, I definitely think your future spouse is into tarot and is into this sort of stuff. They would probably know a lot about astrology, or like they would be into like crystal healing or yoga, meditation, that kind of thing. At least one of these things, they would be into in terms of spirituality. I definitely think they have a spiritual practice. But again, like they care about the home and creating a cozy environment. I could definitely see them being more introverted, because again, they have to be very protective of their energy. I think they're quite self-reflective. I think they're very wise. I think they're very mature. I'm getting like hermit, high priestess energy from your future spouse as well. But again, I think there's this other side to them that's also very playful and very fun and very optimistic and just cheerful, and yeah, like just someone who's very sweet. Like, they're so sweet. Okay, so these cards are indicating where your future spouse is at in their life right now. We have Sparkling Falls, show yourself unconditional love, self-love, confidence, and self-care. And we have Rose Valley, go forth with a soft and open heart, love, feminine energy, and vulnerability. You can see how I said your future spouse comes forth with a divine feminine energy, right? Like, the fact that they're working on showing themselves unconditional love right now tells me that they are preparing to meet the one, which is you, pile 3. And when you come into union together, because they're able to love themselves so deeply and they have that full cup, they can fill up their own cup, they can share that cup with you, and you guys can have a healthy, balanced connection together. you know, because your future spouse is working on being whole and complete on their own. You know, they're not looking at you to complete them, they've completed themselves. And so you guys can both offer something to each other because you are whole and complete on your own. So I don't see any like toxic codependency here, which is great. But yeah, so I think they're working on their self-love, their confidence, their self-care. Like, that's pretty direct. And then with the Rose Valley card, they're working on being more emotionally vulnerable, which I think is hard for them because they've been taken advantage of so much in the past. Obviously, what is the typical response to that? When you've been lied and betrayed to, what do? You go inward, you put up walls, you're very guarded, you're scared of trusting people. Like, that's a very natural, understandable response, right? When you've been used like that, when you've been mistreated. And so I think that they're working on their healing, and they're working on being soft and being open and being vulnerable, even though it's very scary and it's hard. Okay, I didn't ask a specific question with these cards, so we'll just get into it. It says, surrender. There's nothing more blissful than the act of letting go, of setting yourself free of all that doesn't serve you. That reminds me of the Six of Swords. We have love spell. Let the honey of your soul swell in the depths of love. And we have oracle. Spirits of other worlds, tell me tales of the unknown, tell me tales of the forbidden. Okay, I'm not going to lie, I'm really resonating with your future spouse's energy. Like, I love it all day long. I relate a lot to this. Like, I really enjoy it. With this surrender card, like, it makes me feel like they're trying to get into their Empress energy, and they're really trying to, I'm sorry, I was just checking and making sure we were still filming. They're getting into that Empress energy of receiving. So I do think that your future spouse is actively trying to call in their person. I don't necessarily think that they're doing like the law of attraction, because I think it's a very feminine approach here. Like, I think that it's the Empress energy that they're trying to embody. They're asking the universe for the gift of true love, healthy, balanced connections. They're asking the universe to bring in the person they are meant to be with, the person they are meant to settle down with, you know, their soulmate. Like, this is someone who would believe in soulmates, absolutely. Like, this is someone who is very spiritual, someone who likely reads tarot cards, you know, someone who would believe in a love spell, you know, like, this is someone who is into all these kind of things. And so I think that I think your future spouse is surrendering to the divine. They have asked, they have set the intention, and they're surrendering to the divine, and they're asking for this gift. They are praying for you. They are praying for you. And they're trying to let go of everything that is holding them back from meeting you. With that Six of Swords, like, they're trying to move in a positive direction towards you. And with love spell, like, I don't necessarily think that they're doing spell work, although they could be. But I just think that they are really being intentional. You know, in the same way you're intentional when you're doing any type of spell work, like, I would imagine, like, there's a ritual to it, right? Like, you're doing things very mindfully. And so I think that they are being very mindful and intentional about their life and how they're showing up in their life. And are they doing things that would put them in alignment with their soulmate, or are they doing things that would hold them back from meeting their soulmate? Because again, I think they think in this language. I think they're very spiritual. I think that they are the mystic. I think that they have a real connection to their guides. I think that they talk to their spirit guides. I think they believe in spirit guides. I think they believe in all this stuff. They could be watching a tarot reading about you right now. Like, you know, like, they are into this sort of thing. And with the oracle here, they could be a tarot card reader. They could be someone who works with oracle cards. They could be someone who really takes stock and believes in guidance and divine guidance. And yeah, I definitely think there's someone who has a spiritual practice of some sort. Again, it may not necessarily be tarot or oracle cards, but it could be at least something in relation to spirituality. Like I said, again, yoga, meditation, whatever. Okay. I think I've said all I need to. And you see all the yellow. Like, I know yellow is a repeating theme in this deck, but there's a lot of yellow, like a lot. And even just the fact that we have two feminine figures here, again, like I think there's a strong divine feminine energy to your future spouse. Again, we're just talking about energy, we're not talking about gender. Okay, we have trust. I didn't ask a specific question with this, I just said what's the tea on your future spouse. So we have trust. I am safe, I am secure, in love I trust, my faith endures. And we have grace. Grace, blessing, come to me to set me free. This is their approach, I think, right now to love. Like they're having trust and faith in the universe, and they're handling their current situation that is not what they want with grace. And they are treating people who have hurt them with grace. Like that is the biggest thing in their life, is their faith. That is what gets them through these difficult times, is their faith and their trust and their belief in the universe and their ability to handle difficult situations with grace, which is why I think they are owed, or they are due for, this good karma, which I think in part is you, pile 3, someone who is going to genuinely love them and commit to them and offer them the type of love that they give so freely to other people. Like I think that you guys are both going to have a relationship that's pretty close to unconditional love. Let's see, anything else I'm getting with this? Also just with the 3 graces, like I think your future spouse is quite beautiful, attractive, charming, you know? Like I think that they have this very sweet energy that is just very pleasing to be around, you know, like people just enjoy it. Okay. Let's see. These cards here, I didn't ask any specific question. We're getting to the love oracle cards now. I just asked general love messages on your future spouse. So we have flirt, we have chemistry, and we have communication. So quite a lot of messages coming up already. With flirt and communication, I do think your future spouse is quite articulate. I think they're well-spoken. I think they're very charming. I think that's how they flirt, is with their words. So definitely there could be like some witty banter back and forth, deep quality conversations. I also think that maybe this could start online or long distance, where you're communicating a lot, but you're not necessarily communicating in person. You're communicating over text message or phone calls or video chat, that sort of thing. Or you may be really old school and really romantic and write each other letters, whatever resonates. But I also think that they could be a good writer. There could also be an element there of that as well. I just think they're really talented with communication. They could even do something for their job that relates to communication. I could see your future spouse being really great at being a counselor or a therapist, or again, like any mental health or spiritual career path could be great for them if they're not already doing that. Let's see, anything else coming up with that? With chemistry here, I think it's going to be a very easy, quick connection. Like I think you guys are really going to recognize each other for who you are when you come together. I think it's going to be quite evident that, you know, this is it. Like this is this for them at least, because I think they're highly intuitive. They're very intuitive. Like don't ever try to lie to this person or they will see right through that. They're very intuitive. So I think that they will recognize that you are their soulmate when they meet you. Like they're going to recognize that this is the person I've been trying to call in. They're going to see you for who you are right away. And I think that chemistry, that it's just going to be an instant attraction. Like energetically, you guys are going to be drawn to each other. There's going to be a lot of flirting, a lot of playful energy here. And yeah, it's like the sun coming back in is really kind of the energy here. Okay, so I'm just realizing I'm missing 2 cards for you all. So I am going to pause the reading and shuffle those cards, and then we'll be back. All right, sorry about that, pile 3. I don't know how I missed out, but I was just thinking, I was like, wait a minute, I'm missing some cards here. Okay, so these next 2 cards are going to represent the 2 zodiac signs that your future spouse is presenting with. Now, let's be mindful, not all of you guys are going to marry like a fire sign, for example. So this could just be the energy that you are perceiving them as. This could also be representing their sun, moon, Venus, Mars, or even their rising sign, their ascendant. So just take whichever resonates. But yes, let's find out. So we have Leo energy and we have Capricorn. Okay, I knew I was resonating with your future spouse's energy because this is my sun sign and this is my rising sign. But anyway, it doesn't surprise me that Leo came out for your group because your future spouse seems to be someone, like I think I even said like they have a heart of gold. I think I said something about them having like a pure heart. But yeah, like Leo rules the heart here. And Leo energy is also ruled by the sun. And so your future spouse just has this radiant light to them that draws people in. But sometimes because of that light, they can attract the wrong sort of people. People who can't create their own light for themselves, so they come in and they drain your future spouse of their light, of their optimism, their happiness, their generosity, their kindness. And I did say like your future spouse is like a lion that was raised by sheep, and they had to be taught that they were a lion. Yeah, like I think your future spouse went through some difficult trials in their life because Spirit was trying to help them find their voice. Help them find their voice and help them find a way to share their gifts with the world. And so there could be something there also with them having a soul mission that is something creative, because Leo rules the 5th house of creativity. And so there could be something there about your future spouse being meant to share some sort of creative project with the world, and that's in relation to their soul's mission. That's kind of a separate message. Also with loyalty, like Leos are very loyal, very much like heart on their sleeve. Like, you know, there's a generosity to Leo, you know, it's a very giving energy. And so I do think that you're going to be able to trust your future spouse with your heart for sure. I also think that in the beginning, like I know that Leo gets a rep of being like self-centered or being kind of like egotistical in some way. But Leo, I've seen a lot of Leos, and myself included, when you're a kid, it can be difficult because when your light shines so bright, you know, the sun doesn't see itself because of its own light. And so it's difficult also because of this bright light that's shining outward. You know, like if you're thinking of really bright light okay, sorry, I'm tripping over my words now. If you think of a bright light, it's blinding, right? So I think there's an energy sometimes with Leo of not being able to see other people clearly because they are looking for the best in other people. And so I feel like your future spouse has had to go through this journey of maintaining that sense of optimism and seeing the best in people, but tempering that energy with their intuition. And through their spiritual practice, they have been able to learn how to discern who is there to add to their life and who is there to drain them of their light. And they've grown to understand how they need to be protective of their energy and how some people take advantage of their kindness, their sweet nature, their compassion, their capacity to forgive. You know, they've had to be protective around that. And I also think that they've had to go through a process of understanding who they are and seeing their value, because again, I don't think that they were seeing themselves clearly, and they've had to grow into seeing themselves as this lion, as this force to be reckoned with, and understanding that that divine feminine energy they present with is soft, but that is not mean that it is weak. You know, like they found strength in their softness. Cinderella is my favorite Disney princess, and I feel like she's always so misunderstood. Like, I don't like that brand of feminism where they think that women have to present in a masculine way or have to adopt masculine qualities in order to be a feminist. You know, that not like other girls kind of trope, or women have to be warriors in order to be strong, or women have to, present in a way that's masculine. And if you present in a way that's feminine, or you approach things in a very feminine way, that's seen as weak. And, if you enjoy feminine type of activities, or if you want to be a mother, or if you are more girly, that is somehow weak. And so I always felt like Cinderella was really misunderstood because she was a victim, okay? Like, she was not only that, but she was someone who didn't have any agency in her home. So she is this victim of abuse, and it says so in the beginning of like the Disney movie of it. It says like she was abused in her home by her wicked stepmother, and she's someone who has been through so much loss in her life, and she's taught over and over again in this abusive environment that she is worthless, and she has to work so hard every day to survive in that environment, both mentally, emotionally, and physically. Like, she's sleeping in the ashes, right? She's Cinderella. Like, she's working so hard to upkeep this huge household with these demanding, rude people who are telling her she's worthless. At one point, her dead mother's gown is shredded off of her body. Like, she is being abused, let's make no mistake. And all she wants is one night off, right? Just one night off to go to a ball. She's not having any expectations, really, that her life is going to improve or anything like that. She just wants one night off, and somehow this makes her weak. Like, what? Like, she is a survivor of abuse, and what is so wrong with getting married and getting out of that situation? Like, what is so wrong with her meeting her soulmate and falling in love? Because there's a fairy godmother. There's your divine intervention. Like, like that would be the spirit guides. So, like, I don't understand. Like, she deserves it. Like, she deserves she's due for her good karma, in the same way I feel like your future spouse is due for their good karma. I think your future spouse may have had a really difficult childhood, and again, like, has been through really challenging circumstances. Maybe they came from an abusive household. Maybe they had a narcissistic parent or something like that. But yeah, I feel like your future spouse is really strong in the same way that Cinderella is very strong, and in a way that I think society really discounts, because there is a lot of strength and femininity. Like, what did people expect Cinderella to do? Like, she had no money. Like, what was she supposed to do? Run away from home and die on the streets? Like, what was she supposed to do? Like, she had no agency. As a kid, I really related to that movie because, when you're a kid, you have no agency either. Like, you're dependent upon your caregiver. So, yeah, I feel like your future spouse has a story to tell, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was similar in some ways to the story of Cinderella. Like, I really see your future spouse presenting in that way. Okay. Now, we have Capricorn. This is the other side to your future spouse, and I think the side that people really minimize and don't really see or appreciate. And that's how hardworking and disciplined, and we have loyal twice here. That's how hardworking and disciplined your future spouse is. Like, your future spouse has goals. They are very ambitious. I think they're very focused on their career. And I mean, they just have this quiet strength to them. This quiet strength that, again, like, I think is so incredibly impressive. And I think when you hear your future spouse's story and they open up to you, you're going to be so shocked by everything that they have been through and how they still have a smile on their face, okay? And you know, Cinderella, again, like Cinderella, she got a lot of help, right? But she got help from animals. Like, she got help from unlikely places. She got help from a fairy godmother, right? Like, there's this element here of spirit coordinating and helping your future spouse, because I don't think that they have anyone in their life they can really rely upon. And so it's the divine. The divine is helping your future spouse. And, you know, that kindness to animals, you know, like, again, like, your future spouse just has such a kind and loving and wonderful presence to them. And they deserve to be helped because they're a good person. Like, they actively try to be good, and they actively try to do the right thing, and they actively try to handle situations with grace and with acceptance and with an energy of forgiveness. Give me 1 second. I'm going to close the door. Sorry about that, pile 3. Okay, I'm back. So these next cards are going to tell us what your future spouse's current situation is in love. So we have chained and bound. Addiction and codependency are affecting your current situation or relationship. You may feel trapped in a connection, situation, and environment. Someone may act possessive and controlling. We have heart-to-heart conversations. Honestly discuss your feelings with each other. And we have self-love. Accepting and loving yourself is key in either attracting or maintaining a healthy relationship. Focus on what makes you unique without comparing yourself to others. You are unconditionally loved by the universe. I feel like your future spouse is like a child of the universe. Like, I feel like they were raised by the divine. I feel like they came from a household. I'm sorry, my stomach is rumbling. I fast in the mornings. I feel like your future spouse is, I feel like your future spouse was raised in an environment where they weren't given the love and care that they deserved and that they needed. And so because they had this unstable childhood for whatever reason, they were sort of raised by the divine. And that's why they have this heart of gold, because they were raised by the universe. You know, they were taught by the universe. I think that even from a young age, your future spouse would pray, you know, or they would just have this sort of idea of faith even before they could like articulate what that was. But I think that they just had this belief that there was something greater that was helping them, and just sort of this sense of trust, because nothing in their environment was making them feel safe or stable or secure. And so that could have even showed up with them having that close relationship to animals, similar again to Cinderella. And then, self-love goes back to what we were seeing before, right? In the beginning with your oracle, I think it was way back here. Yeah, it was I gotta get way back here now. Yeah, it was the Sparkling Falls card, show yourself unconditional love. This card right here, like, that's what they're focused on, is self-love. Like, they're really focused on, you know, I can't necessarily force my external circumstances to change, you know, but I can work on me. And the more I work on me, the more I will attract the love that I deserve, the healthy connections that I deserve. So that's what they're focused on. They're focused on improving themselves, loving themselves, healing themselves. It's that self-love, you know, that's what they're focused on. And in terms of heart-to-heart conversations and chained and bound, they may be stuck in a connection that they can't walk away from right now. Because there's this energy kind of like, there could be some sort of external factor here, like maybe they don't have the money. And so maybe they're financially tied to someone that they don't want to be tied to. And maybe that's that King of Swords that we were picking up. So that could be a job that they're stuck at that they hate. They could be living with a partner and not have the money to move out because, you know, rent is expensive. You know, they could be maybe even healing from a past connection where there was a lot of codependency. Again, because I think they attract that sort of person because they have this light to them. I think, you know, they attract people, again, who can't make that light for themselves and who drain them and use them and then cast them to the side. So there could be someone also in their life that they need to be honest about and say, like, this isn't working for me, like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to do this with you anymore. So it's going to vary, but I do think that at the very least, they're doing what they can. So even if they're stuck or trapped in a situation because of finances or some other sort of extenuating circumstance, they are at least doing the work that they can do to love themselves. Okay. Let's see. With these cards here, I asked if their future spouse's higher self wanted to send you a message or if Spirit wanted to show us where they've been in love. So let's see what the messages are and then we'll make our determination. So we have, I want to be more than friends. I don't react when people mention you. And I couldn't let you get close to me. Interesting. A couple things here. I couldn't let you get close to me. I was saying in the beginning, I felt like your future spouse may have like High Priestess or Hermit card energy. Like, they have to be so protective of their energy. When you meet them, they may be a little bit guarded or a little bit reserved because I think, again, they've been hurt so much. They may still be trying to be emotionally vulnerable. They may still be trying to go back to that soft, sort of natural energy they embody, but they may, again, like question their intuition, question their discernment, and they have excellent intuition, but they may just be a bit scared. That could be a possibility. You could definitely start off as friends. That could also be a possibility, but they may be scared to admit that they want to be more than friends. This could also be someone from your past, but I think it would be someone from your distant past. I don't think this is someone that you would have known for some time, so maybe someone that you knew when you were younger. With this, I don't react when people mention you, makes me feel like they would be hiding their true feelings from you in the beginning, and again, maybe out of that fear of being emotionally vulnerable, and they're still processing that, they're still working on that. Also, though, I think that this is probably going to resonate more with some of you. If that King of Swords is an ex, someone that they couldn't leave, I think I don't react when people mention you. Like, when they leave that person, they're done. Like, I don't think there's any residual resentment, anger, any of that. I think they've forgiven them and they moved on and they just want to be done and they don't really care. Like, they are done with that energy. Absolutely. And again, I think it's because your future spouse is very mature and they have this high capacity for forgiveness and understanding and compassion. Okay, so these are just general messages here. We have resolving conflict and spiritual maturity. Your future spouse is so spiritual. Like, they are so evolved in their connection with the divine, 110%. And I think they really work on aligning their chakras. Like, again, like, they try to be the best version of themselves. Like, they just try their best. They really do work on themselves. This is someone who really tries to focus on self-development, you know? And I think that's why they have this peacefulness to them, because they're not super reactive. You know, like, whatever is going on in their external environment, they understand they have limited control over what other people say and do and the ways in which they hurt them. So they just let it go. They're like, all I can control is how I respond in this situation. And so when difficult circumstances happen to them, or people betray them or hurt them in some way, they're like, how do I learn from this? What is this situation trying to teach me? They connect with spirit. They're like, what was the divine purpose behind this happening? How is this meant to help me in my growth? You know, like they understand the wheel of fortune. Like I feel like, again, like your future spouse is so spiritual, so evolved, so wise, so mature. And with resolving conflicts, I really feel like they would be able to help you so much. Like if there's some healing that you need doing, you know, if you're going through a difficult time yourself, pile 3, this is what they would offer: love, empathy, compassion, understanding. Again, like I think your future spouse would make a great therapist or a great spiritual teacher in some way. Like they are just a really evolved person. Like they're quite incredible. Yeah. And again, like that divine feminine giving to the divine masculine. Okay. We have they're watching. This is kind of a creepy card, right? I'm going to explain this in a second, but it says they're watching. We have consequences, and we have betrayal. Okay. Several different messages here. With their watching, your future spouse could do something that's in the public eye. Like I have this YouTube channel, right? So like even though you guys don't see my face, you do hear my voice. So there could be something they do like in the public eye in some way. They could be a public figure in some capacity. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean they're like a famous celebrity, although I guess they could be. But it just means that they could be like a performer, maybe like they are like an actor or something like that. I mean, we did get Leo energy, so they could do something creative for their work that involves an audience in some way. Also, with their watching though, could indicate that maybe they look at your social media, or they follow you on social media, or they've seen your social media. You know, like if you have like a Instagram account that's open, maybe once you meet them, they can look you up on social media, something like that. Or again, like maybe you guys meet online through a dating app. That could also be a possibility, and they're checking out your profile. So this could work like both ways, right? Or you guys could meet like in a crowded celebration or a public, you know, kind of event, and you see each other across the room. You know, that kind of energy could be present. With this betrayal card, I think all day long, like your future spouse again has been put through the ringer, like they've been betrayed, they've been so hurt. And I feel like your guides are just wanting you to know, like, please be gentle with this person. Please be kind to them. Please be mindful of their past and what they've been through, and how that has created some consequences and how that's affected them. And so like if your future spouse maybe has some trust issues, or you know, maybe because no one's perfect, right? Like you're not going to be perfect when you meet them either. Like that's just not an achievable thing. I gave this same speech to pile 2, pile 3. So like everyone has things they need to work on, you know, and so your future spouse may have trouble trusting or feeling safe. I think it's a lot about safety. So understand that your future spouse may want to keep things light and happy and fun with that Leo energy, or Capricorn, they may be a bit serious or a bit reserved on the surface. And that's just a defense mechanism, because they have to feel safe and secure, and that safety and security I think is what they want most. And so if you can help them feel safe and secure, then they will open up to you. But understand where they've been, understand the effects that those multiple betrayals had on them, and just again be mindful and be kind that you have to earn their story. You're not entitled to it, okay? And I do think they have quite a difficult story to share. With this consequences card, I also think that this is a little bit of kind of like this sense of, with everything your future spouse has been through, the way that they look at it is that they forgive people that they need to forgive, but they also stand firm that there are consequences to people's actions, and if you treat me a certain way, there will be consequences. And that's not to be punitive, that's not to punish anyone, but it's just how things are. So your future spouse is very fair in this way, very fair. They're not out for revenge, they're not out to hurt anyone, but if you treat them badly, repeatedly, intentionally, cause them harm, of course, they are not going to be able to be there for you, to give to you, to be a friend or a lover, or, you know, like, they're not going to be able to be present with you in that way anymore. And it's not that they're choosing not to, it's that they are now incapable of having an open-hearted connection with you because of your actions. You've shown them who they are, you've shown them who you truly are, and as a result, they have to treat you differently now. And it's not even a choice, it's just what they have to do to protect themselves. Now, I don't think that you're out to hurt your future spouse, but I do think that if there are certain people in their past and you're like, how can you, for example, if you had a happy childhood, you may find it difficult to understand why they don't talk to their parents or why they are estranged from a sibling. And instead of judging them for that, hear their story, because I think once you hear their story, you'll understand why they are disconnected from certain people that you would think they would have a close relationship with. Because again, your future spouse has been really hurt by people who were meant to protect and provide and care for them and love them. So again, like, just reserve your judgment and hear their story when they're ready to tell it. But understand they've been through a lot. Okay. Now I'm just making sure we're still filming. Yeah, okay. Now let's get into your goodies. Okay. We're gonna start with the romance matchsticks. We have celebrate a recent accomplishment of your partners. Ooh, okay. That might be a little hint for you guys. Maybe you'll meet your future spouse at a time when they have just achieved something. So maybe you'll meet them when they're graduating with their degree, you know, undergrad, graduate school, whatever. Maybe you'll meet them when they just got a big promotion or a new job, or I don't know, but it could be just any like achievement. Like if they own their own business, maybe they've hit a certain marker, like maybe they own an Etsy store and they just hit some sort of goal that they had, you know, with selling items, something like that. So you could meet them like right when they're celebrating a high point in their life. Okay, we have write each other love letters. I'm pretty sure I said that for your group. Yeah, because you guys got the communication card. And I said this could be long distance, and maybe if you're old fashioned, you guys write each other love letters. I said that. I love when these things connect, okay? And then we have a make out in a movie theater. Okay, let's see. Let's get your love tokens. We have good for breakfast and bed, and we have good for a very long cuddle. Yeah, there's a sweetness here. There's a coziness to this connection that I really, really vibe with. Like, I love it. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Now, these are more specific messages, so if something's not resonating, just leave it, because everything may not apply. It's a general reading. Okay, we have charismatic. Yeah, I mean, they do have that Leo energy. Everyone loves a Leo. Yes, that's my own personal bias. We have cheekbones. You may like their cheekbones. That also, when I think of cheekbones, when I wrote this, they also could have like cute dimples or like cheeks that you want to pinch, because I do think there's a cuteness to your future spouse. You could also really like the way they smile and the way their cheekbones look when they smile. They are very family oriented. Now, this could mean that they are close with their family, although given everything that we've been talking about, it feels like to me more like they want to create their own family, like found family. So like friendships would be really important. Maybe they want to have kids of their own, or maybe they have a pet that they treat like a child, something like that. Or family and home is really going to be a priority for them in your marriage. We have home buddy. Yeah, I would say so. That's the mystic energy. Sorry, guys. Spontaneous. We have blue eyes. They are rational, logical. I think that would surprise people given how spiritual they are, but I do think that, again, like there's more than meets the eye with your future spouse. I do think they're very smart. To have gone through everything they've had to go through, I think they're quite intelligent. And they could have wavy hair. Now, again, like with the physical attributes, things like that, just be really mindful. It may not apply. It is a general reading, but I think in terms of the personality traits, you can take that more to heart. Okay, and then let's end with the two T's that best represent your future spouse. We have sweet grapefruit, everyday immunity, and we have peppermint tea. I think that this person's going to be really great for your health. Like, they're going to be really great for your emotional, mental, and spiritual health. Like, I just feel like this connection is so loving, so supportive, so nurturing. Yeah, like, they just have a real maternal energy to them, regardless of their gender. They just have a very maternal energy. They want someone that they can take care of. But also I think you're going to take care of them too. I think you're just going to both have something to offer, you know, like that Two of Cups energy. And with peppermint, I think there's something very soothing and very calming about their energy. That's that mystic energy again, like something very soothing, very calming. Yeah, there's something about their voice, their demeanor. This isn't someone who raises their voice even in an argument. This is someone who's very controlled again. They're not very reactive. It's that spiritual connection. Like, you're not going to take them out of their peace, not for nothing. Like, they are just very mindful of how they speak to people and how they respond to triggering situations. Like, again, they've had their practice with it for sure. They've had, I think, quite a difficult life. And I hope that you represent the sun coming back into their life and good things happening to them, because they most certainly deserve it. I think that's everything that I wanted to say. I also just kind of got this vibe of like wind chimes. I don't know, that's so weird. But like if you guys hear wind chimes, or yeah, there's just something about like this ease to them, like wind blowing through the wind chimes. I don't know why, that just popped into my head. But yeah, I'll leave you with that final image, pile 3. There may be something musical about their voice or the way that they speak that you like. Maybe that's the message. All right, pile 3. This was your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had as much fun as I did. I loved your future spouse's energy. Yeah, put a smile on my face. I love it. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you always know when I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to simply watch the ads. Thank you so much to everyone who chooses to do any of the things that I just listed out, as well as everyone who's been supporting the channel thus far. And thank you everyone for your video suggestions as well. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next one. Take care, pile 3.